Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Formula Virtual Racing. We are here this evening for the first ever Hungarian Grand Prix, and what a race it should be here in Budapest. This should be a fairly exciting one. We've already started off the evening on a fantastic note. Aaron McFall is in the incorrect car, and he's driving a Ferrari instead of his trusty Alpine. But just to clarify before we get going, Aaron McFall will score points for Alpine, or, well, saying Aaron's going to score points, I'm pretty sure he's using a sequential gear shifter instead of his paddle shift, so saying Aaron scoring points is optimistic at the best of times, but if he does score points, he will score them for Alpine. Brendan, how are you doing? Oh yeah, Brendan's here. Well. Forgot to introduce him. Brendan's here. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Obviously last week was a bit of a mess, but we will quite quickly gloss over that and get on to the action here. We have our second person in the championship, Lewis McWilliam, 1 point behind Luke Davies. However, he's got a quality ban today, and he's got to try and make that up position in the race at a place where they call it Monaco without the walls.
Yeah, it's not the easiest of places to overtake. We'll take a quick look at our championship standings, and you can see heading into this evening, ladies and gentlemen, there is a singular point separating our top two. It's Luke Davies on 121, Lewis McWilliam on 120, Dara Smith on 73, Tyler Pistilli on 54, and Sam Crumpton on 54. The graphic doesn't quite show it, but the gap between fourth position and ninth position is 10 points. There is 3 drivers on 54 points, and there's Borbune on 52, and Gobadi on 50, and then Jake Marsh on 44. And Jake, of course, here in this Scuderia Ferrari this evening. But qualifying is getting underway. As we said, Lewis McWilliam will play no part in this session. He received a qualifying suspension for an incident with this man, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, in qualifying for the United States Grand Prix. He impeded him in his last lap in qualifying. Lewis still took pole and went on to win that Grand Prix, taking the maximum points in a late safety car. Luke Davies just about managing to get second. He almost bottled it in terms of a strategy, but he just about managed to get second. But you gotta feel that Luke has to get a good result here this evening, especially where Lewis is starting miles at the back.
Yeah, this is an opportunity he can't really afford to miss, and especially with pretty much a full grid, pending maybe Chloe Glennon arriving during the quali. That would mean there's going to be a lot of cars for him to get, Lewis to get through. And, well, some drivers like Leonardo Garrick, as I said this towards early on, might be this last season, actually, I found him a bit like a blue shell, like the blue shell in Mario Kart. And while given he's in the Williams tonight, it's quite fitting. And you don't know, he's not really the one you want to cross when you're trying to get up a couple of positions.
No, you're absolutely spot on. And Liam, when we have a close championship and we need a bit of drama, we add Liam Angelo Carrick to the grid. But Borbune goes to the top of the session, then Marsh 3/10 off in the mediums. That's a solid run from Jake Marsh. There goes lightning Luke Davies, though, to the top. On a 1:16.143, his pace is pretty impressive here in the early runs. It'll be the Aston Martin. No, it won't be the Aston Martin. It'll be the Haas of Tim Denhire, who I have to say has been very strong in qualifying in the previous weeks. That trend will continue. He goes up to third here. It'll then be it'll be the Mercedes of Daniel Holland, a late replacement for a Gobadi. He's just getting on his run. It'll then be the Aston Martin of Liam Houseman, who has invalidated his time, but we're going to cut Liam a bit of slack. He's playing where he's driving, I should say, with a bit of a bruised finger, but the other Liam goes to second then, 0.136 off pole position. He just slots into the front row. It'll then be this man, Aaron McFall, in the incorrect car, who will be rounding the final corner on the hards. He's doing another hard tyre quali again. Don't question his ways. You know that by now. Oh, big snap for Daniel Holland heading through there. Then it'll be who just improved? It'll be Yathan Penguru, who goes to 6th, and there is another improvement there for Tyler Pistilli, who now goes to 6th. We're still yet to see times from Nils Hartl, Matthew Stotts, Lewis McWilliam, who we won't be seeing one from, of course, Liam Houseman. And oh, there we go. There's a way to introduce yourself to Formula Virtual Racing. Our new reserve, who's replacing Jake Scarborough for this evening, has managed to put his time on the top of the order. Say hello. And why is my brain gone blank? Say hello to Henry Rogers. That's his name. My brain went blank. I've commented on Henry for a good few years and my brain went completely blank. But say hello to Henry Rogers, ladies and gentlemen. Up at the top, 0.033 on pole position here in Hungary. Oh, ho, ho, this just gets better. Look who's just gone into second. Liam Houseman, ladies and gentlemen. That's a very good return here in the second run for Houseman. He beats Davies and we've a new front row here with 12 to go, but they're separated by less than half a tenth of a second. This could be an iconic end to qualifying already, and there's still plenty to come here in Formula Virtual Racing as we see Habib Makuk. Oh, that was technically a save. Technically a very impressive one from Habib Makuk. He's looking for a little bit of a redemption arc here after his race suspension in Silverstone.
Yeah, it's very interesting here. See, Luke, while he was hoping here that this would be a great opportunity for him, it's actually a case where the grid really good, top heavy in a way. Nice backbone, mostly. Liam Houseman reached some of the pace he had earlier on in this game cycle. Particularly World Cup, Liam Houseman was a force to be reckoned with. And then there was Liam Angelo Carrick. You don't really want him near you either. You prefer him a little further down and him being a thorn in Lewis's side as opposed to potentially being a thorn in your side. Either way, though, it's looking like a very interesting four-way fight for pole position.
It's looking a very interesting fight for Paul. I like this one. You could introduce maybe Bastilli and Marsh into this little battle as well. Maybe Borbune even, if he can find a bit of time. But just a tad off for the time being. Khalil saying good evening, Evan and Brendan, hope you're well. And then saying hello, Henry, hope you're having a good evening too. Well, okay, Khalil. I swear you're a team boss for another team. Is Khalil a team boss for another team this season? Is he Ferrari? No, he's not Ferrari, is he? Oh, he is Ferrari. Yeah, Khalil boss. Khalil Bamba, team boss of Scuderia. That was a horrible couple of seconds, Evan. Back to qualifying anyways here for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Borbune is going to get underway pretty shortly. I believe Yafan Panguru has gone on his run. He's heading through now the left-hander and in towards the right of turn number 3 and up the hill towards turn number 4. A quick left flick here, and he's now improving by a tenth of a second. Needs to find a little bit more if he wants to jump a spot, but Yathan has good feelings coming into this evening. I currently have an ongoing bet with him. If he gets a podium here this evening, I have to do a shoey. I have a feeling that I will be all okay, but Yathan is trying to prove me wrong, and he might well do so, heading in towards this right-hander and up towards the left. It's a track that we've never raced on, and obviously league racing is a little bit different because you can drive these tracks as much as you want, but usually in Formula 1, when you do have a new track, it is a little bit messy. That's a big middle sector from Yafan Panguru. He is finding time here, heading in towards turn number 13, and there's 14 corners here, of course, in the 4.381 kilometre circuit, 6 to the left and 8 to the right. The Alpine team with good memories here. They won, of course, in 2021 with Esteban Ocon, and I'm surprised Brendan hasn't mentioned that one yet, but Yafan improved. Yathan Panguru does improve to 7th, and he's now 7/10 shy of pole position. How's Borbune doing then? He found the exact same time as Panguru did in the first sector. Can he find the exact same in the second? No, not quite. Actually loses time in the second sector. He's not down on his overall delta though, but he isn't improving as much as he was in the first, but heading through turn number 13 and in towards 14, then it's a long sweeping left-hander and then a long sweeping right, but you can get on the throttle about halfway through that corner, and you need to get the best exit. There goes Borbune across the line. He does improve, but it's not by enough to touch the top 4. Here comes Liam Angelo Carrick rounding the final corner to start his run. Davies is improving, but Davies has actually backed out of his lap. Liam Houseman and Henry Rogers just getting their laps underway. Den Heyer as well is on a run. Jake Marsh, big middle sector, he's improving by 7/10 of a second. This could put him right up in towards that little top 4 that we've designated now for the pole battle. Jake, of course, one-time winner in Formula Virtual Racing. He's underrated and overrated at the best of times, some people say. Here comes Marsh, and he's going to go to the pole. 9/10 of a second improvement from Jake Marsh. There's now 5 cars battling it out for pole position here in Hungary. Just look how close that is. 4 cars within half a tenth of a second. This is brilliant.
Yeah, it's just we're getting that maybe getting a real scrap for pole position to you, because you don't really see that often. Usually someone's a little bit clear, or maybe there's 2 who are going to find out. Like, he's lucky enough to get 3, but 5, especially obviously Lewis, he has a lot of pace. But
Oh, wait, hold on a minute! Tim Den Hire goes to pole! Where has that one come from? 0.7 of a second improvement. Tim Den Hire is on provisional pole position. Here in Formula Virtual Racing, Rogers has invalidated on his run. Is Davies improving? He's not. Here comes Liam Houseman though around the final corner. This one was looking good, and Houseman goes to pole. He's extended that one by quite a margin. 0.235 now. Both Rogers and Davies into the pit lane. Liam Carrick was just 0.1 of a second shy of pole. He's now 0.5. That's just how the improvements have gone here. This is a great qualifying so far, and there's still more who could introduce themselves. Tyler Pistilli, of course, is doing his usual on the older tyres. We are yet to see a proper time for Matthew Stotts. He's not improving in towards, or I say yet to see, maybe a potential time for the new Aston Martin driver. Carrick then is on an outlap, or is he on a push lap? I saw him coming out of the pit lane. No, he's definitely on an outlap because he's not far enough on the circuit. Here's Henry Rogers. Let's take a look at him. But it is a Dutch 1-2 here. We haven't had a Dutch 1-2 in a long time in FVR. It's Houseman and Den Hire, the two friends, who are first and second in qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
I would say Luke Davies is probably thinking, why now? Like, he probably wouldn't have minded it so much if it was a couple of races ago. But now, when he's got a 1 point lead and he needs to take advantage, there's a few cars who seem to be wanting to, maybe, see, they've got none to lose, but they are going to mess with Luke Davies' plans, maybe to try and take advantage of McWilliams' qualifying ban. Because for every position Luke falls down, it's a position closer to McWilliam.
Yeah, that was old. Daniel Holland having a bit of a spin. Lewis is in 18th as of now. And we are still yet to see just one driver behind him. So Lewis will genuinely be on the back row of the grid if Morris Stumer can get a time in. And Morris is a fairly competitive driver as well, so I imagine he will get a time in. But there'll be one more run here in this session, and I'm excited for it because we saw the order completely shuffle up in that first run. There goes Pistilli across the line. He's 1.2 off on his time, unfortunately for him. Aaron McFall is a second up on the hards. He's obviously going to pit fairly soon and go for that set of softs, and Daniel Holland is still carrying around.
Yep. I have a few more runs left. Jake Marsh is coming out a little early to maybe do that run. That's a very interesting idea. Maybe it's just some might just want to take advantage of a clear track. But the track evolution here is a fairly big thing, as we've seen here. It's Tim Den Hire, who, well, quick. He's never really shown I can fight at the front for pole position quick. He was on pole position. He's still P2 at this moment.
Yeah, Jake is trying to beat Lewis McWilliam here, isn't he? As I believe he starts his lap now, heading down towards turn number 2. Jake Marsh and pole in FVR is an interesting conundrum. I'm trying to remember, does he have a pole position here in Formula? Oh, he does. He got one in Singapore, didn't he? Yeah, season 5, Jake Marsh was on pole in this scarlet red Ferrari. He's gone purple in the first sector, but he has a lot of time to catch if he wants to try and overtake Tim Den Hire and Liam Houseman. And the two names that I don't think we expected to be at the top here in Formula Virtual Racing this evening, especially considering Liam is carrying a bit of an injury as well, and he's had a fairly lackluster season so far. But Tim Den Hire, I definitely didn't expect him to be starting at the front row of the grid, but he's putting in some good times. Jake now purple in the middle. That is a real good improvement for him, but needs to find a little bit more time. Round he goes. The Ferrari into the wall. Is there damage on that car? I wonder if he's time to make it back into the pit lane. He does actually have time to make it back in and out. It's a short lap here in Hungary, a 1:15, as we saw by Houseman. He'll trundle into the pit lane. It'll be pushing it tight, but he may have time to get back in and out. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer as well, a man who's running well in this championship, improving in the middle sector. Let's see, is he still improving? He is, so he's going to head round the final couple of corners now, and the Mercedes will hopefully look to break into the top 10. No Mercedes in the top 10 so far in this session, so Jonathan Jurgensmeyer will look to be the first. Is he going to break in? He will. He'll go 9th. Decent run that from the American. What about Andrew Davis? He's improving in the middle sector as well. The United States drivers on the back of their home Grand Prix looking for another good result. It was a real nice midfield battle in that race. They'll be looking to repeat it here.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do their best. have to see now. One thing with Marsh, that was probably a bad idea to just try the lap early, because at least then, if it went wrong, it's not a quality ender. Let's see, Huntsman, Den Higher, Akko, and Luke all. I wasn't ready for qualifying that. Akko and Luke did invalidate their second runs. So that might play a little bit of a hamper on their confidence. But Marsh, well, he had that little crash, and whether he comes back out now is a whole other story. Well, Houseman and Higher, this is probably your best chance to get a pole position this season.
Yeah, this is their best chance at a good result, clearly, because they clearly have some race pace. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a titanic battle for pole position here in Budapest. It could realistically go to any of the top 6. We're yet to see competitive times in the final stages from Rogers, Davies and Carrick. Liam Houseman, the man on top, gets us underway first here. Jake Marsh has made it back out and will get another run. Houseman has to nail the braking into turn number 1. There's multiple different lines you can take through this first corner. Houseman runs a nice tight line and gets a good exit. Jurgensmeyer retires from the session. We saw his final run be put in. Houseman then heading in towards turn number 2, almost a waiting game, and then just pinned the throttle, a little bit of a squiggle on the exit, and Houseman round. Liam Houseman round. And Tim Den Heyer's crashed at the start of his run as well. Oh my goodness me. How dramatic is this qualifying? The top 2 will not improve on their times here. It's all down to Marsh, Rogers, Davies and Carrick. Can they steal pole position here in Budapest? Luke Davies starts his run. Liam Carrick, is he on a lap or is he just starting a lap? He's just starting a lap, so it'll be Henry Rogers, the first man to see us round. Marsh just getting ready to go. Den Heyer and Houseman maybe have bottled it. They got a middle run in. These guys did not. What's Rogers' first sector? It's an improvement, but it's not by enough. It's not quite purple here in the first sector, and Henry Rogers just needs to find a little bit more time as he rotates the car heading through turn number 5. The chicane is 6 and 7. A beautiful move from Fernando Alonso into there in previous years. Rogers just hunting down time, using 4th gear, nailing every apex so far. The Alfa Romeo is on rails through this part of the circuit. He's looking very good.
Got to get away here.
Yeah, Den Heyer has to get out of the way. Luke Davies, Henry Rogers is improving by just enough there, but we saw Marsh improving by just enough, and then it all went wrong for him in very, very quickly. Here comes Henry Rogers, rounding the final couple of corners. He has to come from about 3.5 tenths of a second back to beat Liam Houseman and Tim Den Heyer. The clock strikes 0. Rogers across the line, takes provisional pole. What can Luke Davies say anything about it? He's done. Luke has bottled his lap. Is Jake Marsh improving? Not through the first. Is Liam Carrick improving? He is through the first. How about the second? Carrick finding time. What about Marsh? Is he finding time through the second sector here as he runs wide? Jake Marsh, he is finding time through that second sector. It's a purple sector for Jake Marsh. How beautiful this would be for Marsh if he could steal pole here in Hungary. It's Rogers on top for now. What can Carrick do? Can he find time in his Williams round the final couple of corners? Pistilli's gone to 3rd on the second row. Carrick goes to 4th. What about Jake Marsh? Can the Scuderia Ferrari beat him? Rounding the final corner goes Jake Marsh. It's only going to be 3rd position here. Is there going to be any shocks from down the order? I don't think so. It's going to be Pangulu who rounds the final corner, but he's not improving by nearly enough. He will not jump up a position. Nils Hartl is not improving. He'll start 15th position. Adrian Taisha has invalid and spins nevertheless, and it is Henry Rogers who takes a debut pole position here in Formula Virtual Racing. But you really have to ask yourself, what could Houseman and Den Heyer have done in that session if they didn't bottle it?
Yeah, indeed. And I think Luke Davies would be furious with Tim. However, if Tim is not on an outlet...
I think Tim may have blocked Luke, by the way. I think there could be a bit of an investigation in there.
That's a weird one. However, Tim was not technically on a lap, so where are we standing on that?
Well, if it's impeding, whether he's on a lap or not.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But nevertheless, it is Henry Rogers who is on pole for the Hungarian Grand Prix. What a shuffle up that is. Has Luke done what he needed to do? No, absolutely not. He's only in 7th. McWilliam can easily beat him from there. This is Lewis McWilliam we're talking about at the end of the day. But it is Rogers who starts from pole with Houseman on the front row. It's Marsh in 3rd, followed by Pistilli, Carrick, Den Heyer, Davies, Borbune, Stumer, McFall, Stotts, Jurgensmeyer, Panguru, Davis, Hartl, Taisha with a disappointing qualifying from his recent run of good form. It's in Daniel Holland, Habib Makouk and Lewis McWilliam who starts on third. Folks, we'll be back in a brief moment. Welcome back to Formula Virtual Racing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here in Budapest, the Hungaroring, for the first ever time in Formula Virtual Racing history. The first Grand Prix was held here in 1986. Nelson Piquet went on to win with a famous overtake on Ayrton Senna's Lotus. The Hungaroring has held the Hungarian Grand Prix for the past 37 seasons from 1986 to 2022, and it will do so again here in 2023. 5 drivers have taken maiden victories at the Hungaroring: Damon Hill, Jenson Button, Fernando Alonso, Heikki Kovalainen and Esteban Ocon. Can Henry Rogers do the same? From pole position here in Formula Virtual Racing, we head back to the on-track action. A shout out to Kyle Albert and Thomas Main, who are both enjoying the action in the stream. Chad Kyle saying beer in one hand, phone in the other, watching FVR. Life is good right now. And Thomas saying, I'm eating a good pizza while watching this. I'm having a pizza after this, Thomas, so you're making me hungry. As Bootson, one here says, Thomas, yeah, Thierry Bootson getting a win as well. And there's been many other winners across the years because, well, as I said, there's been 36 races or whatever. But in terms of Formula Virtual Racing, we would like to remind you of our championship standings. You can see it is Luke Davies on top by a singular point, but he's only managed to qualify at 7th. His championship rival Lewis McWilliam is down in 19th after a qualifying suspension. It is such an interesting front row of Henry Rogers and Liam Houseman here. Definitely wouldn't have expected it coming into the session, but nevertheless, that is that what makes racing beautiful. It's hards for the top 8, it's mediums for Stumer, it's then softs for McFall, who's going to get a good getaway. Stotts and Jurgensmeyer on the mediums, Panguru gone for the hards, with Davis gone for the softs as well. It's Niels Hartl who's gone for the mediums, followed by Adrian Taisha on the hards, Daniel Holland and Habib Makouk on the mediums, and Lewis McWilliam has gone for the hard tires. Brendan, who wins this one?
It could be anyone here today, but I would say for a lot of these drivers, this is an option you can't really miss, but I think Luke Davies was more riding on this than anybody else. However, I don't know if he wins today. It's already went to them wrong. It's enough to just take out the emotion from this one.
Luke just needs to run the steadiest race that he has ran all season, in my opinion, and just try get spots where he can. But we line up on the grid here in Budapest. Hopefully we get a bit better of a camera angle than that one when we do line up on the grid. Lewis McWilliam in his grid slot. That's a really good start from Luke Davies. That's exactly what he needed to do. Heading into the first corner, Liam Houseman pulls up alongside the pole sitter, heading into the first corner. Houseman up the inside, leads here in Hungary. It's 3 wide in the background. Liam Carrick has got a great start. Looks like it's Luke Davies who got a good initial getaway, but look at this. The Scotsman has already passed him on the opening lap. Or is he? Oh, it's a right kerfuffle here in the midfield. There's 3 wide here as well. That's Lewis, that's Hartl, that's Jurgensmeyer, that's Hartl and Jurgensmeyer round, and it's Lewis McWilliam round as well. Liam Carrick's out of the race. He's completely destroyed his Williams. The virtual safety car is already out. What a hectic start here in Hungary. Couldn't really tell you what happened, but Matthew Stotts and Liam Carrick are both out of the Grand Prix. Stotts with that weird glitch disconnection issue. Unfortunately, Carrick looked like he was overtaking Pastilli, and his car is now crumbled in an Armco barrier. Awful there for Carrick, who just doesn't seem to have any luck in Formula Virtual Racing. But Liam Houseman leads the Hungarian Grand Prix. Your biggest gainer is Habib Makouk, who's up 8 spots to 10. Your biggest loser, that will be Liam Carrick, who is out of the Grand Prix and down 13. But Luke Davies got a great initial getaway. All of a sudden, on the exit out of the first corner, Lewis McWilliam was alongside him, and then heading into turn 2, McWilliams dropped to 16th.
Wait, are you sure you've not just mistook Borbune for Luke?
No, Luke had genuinely dropped down to about 10th or 11th at one point.
No. I mean the initial start.
No, because Luke had already got a spot. Luke got someone off the line. Definitely got someone off the line. I don't really know who, but he definitely got someone off the line. Borbune got a decent launch as well, but Luke was on the outside, I believe. Or the inside, I should say. I don't know, I'm so confused. The safety car has come out. We're now under full safety car conditions, of course, and there's been a few that's pulled into the pit lane. Oh, of course, this is the one race Luke isn't streaming. So I was going to check what side of the grid he was on, but no. Whatever's gone on there, it's an absolute hectic race start. And it was looking like Luke had potentially bottled this one already, but he's been given another stroke of luck, and he's into 7th position. And great start from Adrian Teiche as well, who's up to 8th spot.
Yeah, I think Luke would be relieved that he's still 7th. Honestly, and that's actually took out Carrick from that. So not sure. Can we tell what happened to him? So we're just going to have to see what happens next now. See, McFall up to 6th. However, he's using a sequential gearbox. So Luke Davies will want to be passing him, although McFall's on the soft tyre. So McFall could end up heading an Aaron McTrain.
Yeah, there's an Aaron McTrain coming here, and I can tell you that because he's got ahead of the man he wants to be ahead. Aaron, a good friend of Lewis's, he's just going to back them up, isn't he? Just remember, Aaron is also meant to be in an Alpine today.
Yeah, it's just Aaron McWrong team, yeah.
As your race order, it is Liam Houseman, of course, who leads the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's Henry Rogers in 2nd, followed by Tyler Pistilli in 3rd, Jake Marsh in 4th, with Borbune in 5th, Aaron McFall in 6th, Luke Davies in 7th, Adrian Teiche now in 8th position, followed by Habib Makuku is in 9th, it's then Yathlon Pangulu who's in 10th, followed by Daniel Holland in 11th. Lewis is in 12th. I could have sworn he was 15th the last time I looked, but he's in 12th now. Niels Hartl then in 13th, followed by Andrew Davis in 14th. Morris Stumer is in 15th, followed by Tim Den Heyer. Horror start for him in 16th. He started this race in 6th, and then Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in 17th. The bottom 4 have all made their mandatory pit stops, and I imagine Stumer and Jurgensmeyer will be attempting to go to the end, and then Den Heyer and Davis going for the 2-stop.
I have to say though, it's still a very, very interesting grid at the moment. And I won't be honest, I was just checking to see with the Red Bulls. I had thought for a second Lewis might just slip through on that. But then I just see him just spinning round. But even still, he's up to 12th. So, and you start here with realistically an okay start from McWilliam as long as he wasn't the only spinner. And there was no safety car. But in this case, there all has been. He's up to 12th, and you can probably see Davies just ahead of him. And it's like, this line of sight.
Honestly, I wish we did have a replay on that race start because it was so hectic. If you look on board with Lewis McWilliam, let's try confirm what Brendan said. Can he see him? Yeah, he can see him. You can see the McLaren just there. He knows that's who he is hunting down. He has a Mercedes, an Alpine, a Williams, and a Red Bull to overtake, but I would imagine that if he did catch up to Adrian Teiche, Adrian might play the team game and let him through. Adrian, one of the nicest guys on this grid, he's not going to jeopardise his teammate if he does not have to. It is the laggy Liam Houseman who leads. I got very scared that he had bottled it for a second, and I was going to say, not again, Liam. But no, he still leads here in Budapest, and we're not going to go on board because it just seems to be a laggy mess on board with Liam Houseman. He is trying to defend from Henry Rogers behind him, the Aston Martin, looking to just tee up his safety car restart perfectly. The Alfa Romeos dive to the inside and we go racing once again here in Budapest. It's a good initial launch from Houseman, but Henry Rogers has reacted here as they head down the main straight. Tyler Pistilli getting a good restart as well. He's just a tenth of a second shy of Rogers heading into the first corner. As is Pistilli going to try around the outside, the Canadian trying to force it the long way here as he heads round and in towards second position. Oh, Rogers with a huge slap on the apex. Marsh and Bune goes through as well. Aaron McFall has been overtaken by Luke Davies, or has he? No, sorry,
No.
apologies. That's poor Bune who's got past Aaron McFall. Bune getting a great restart. Henry Rogers now falls to 6th. Aaron McFall goes veering off the circuit, has to rejoin, has overtaken Borbune as he's did it. Gonna have to let the McLaren through there, it seems. That was an illegal overtake for sure, and he does allow Bune through at the apex. Look at Davies, wheel barging there with Henry Rogers, and Luke Davies is round here at the apex. He's been spun round. Luke falls to the bottom of the grid. The championship leader has fallen to 17th after being spun on the apex of turn number 5. Not what he would have wanted. Horror restart for Luke Davies.
Yeah, horror restart. He tried to get a position, but it turned out someone behind them all was a little too eager, and Dave took. Well, he's gained something back now after Daniel Holland has spun. Hello, this Houseman. Houseman, he is down to 16th.
Liam Houseman spins round. Apologies, I just had to fix something on the settings. There's not a moment to breathe in this race. Tyler Pastilli leads the Hungarian Grand Prix. What a race this is so far. Aaron McFall is in 3rd, Borbune 4th, and look at this. Look at Lewis McWilliam. He's under attack from Andrew Davis. Davis on the better tyres, trying to go around the outside. That's not going to work. Taisha has been done by... Oh no, apologies. Taisha has defended well from Yafin Penguru. Penguru, the German, initially got the spot, but Adrian Taisha was able to defend it. Lewis still battling with Andrew Davis. Andrew not able to make a move stick. Heading up the hill then, it is a Ferrari 2-3, but the points aren't going to Ferrari if Aaron finishes in 3rd. They're going to Alpine. But Tyler Pastilli with a comfortable lead. Is this potentially the chance for Pastilli's first race win? Of course, we mentioned 5 debut winners here in the Hungaroring. Pastilli would make that 6 from if Formula Virtual Racing counted. Brendan?
Yeah, I think McCook is struggling here, and this is not helping Luke at all.
Oh no, he's not. He's parked right behind the Williams. He's going to have to dive him into a cone. No, he doesn't have to worry about it. McCook goes off the circuit and spins round. Unfortunately for him, he was struggling, and he's down to 16, and it'll now be 17th as Danielle Holland gets past. Luke now has a bit of clean air. The next man he's attacking is Morris Stumer, as it looks like Houseman is trying to attack Jurgensmeyer in front. Brendan, honestly, I was trying to plug in my laptop before the entire stream died. What did actually happen to Liam Houseman?
I think he just had a spin, because I just saw him down in 16th, and well, that's Khabib McCook off again. And honestly, this race has been played with surprises, but unfortunately for Luke Davies, it happened exactly being the USA Season 6 kind of surprise. It's more the Belgium Season 6 surprise where you just get your wing blown off. And this time it's this championship been kind of turned around 180 style while Lewis McWilliam.
Oh, Tim then higher! Oh, Tim! Oh no, that was going to be such a brilliant move, but unfortunately he's hit the side of the Alpine, and now he's got some damage, I believe, now running in 11th spot. That would have been a great move from Den Hire, but he just went in that corner too hot. Liam spun on his own. You were on board with him. I was on board with him, Khalil, but as I said, didn't see it. So thank you for pointing out the obvious. Morris Stumer is now tucked up behind Tim Den Hire here, trying to make a manoeuvre. Davies is hunting in. He's gained 0.5 per second on Stumer in this lap, as there's a yellow flag in the back. It's just become the philosophy of Liam Houseman, is that he just can't do well in races. There's too many mistakes. As it looks like Henry Rogers is looking to attack Borbune. Rogers is going to make this move easily, as there's going to be a swap here. Red Bull versus Red Bull. Adrian Taisha runs the nice wide line and just allows his Scottish teammate through. So Lewis McWilliam is up and past and into 6th spot. This has gone perfectly for Lewis McWilliam so far. This has gone horribly for Luke Davies, and this might be the one championship swing that may not be recovered from.
Yeah, there was a few instances where Lewis McWilliam started to reel him in, but maybe then he got. There's some instances where neither really could really do much, because both, like Silverstone, it just didn't really work out for either. However, in this case, Luke needed a result here to help himself, but qualifying 7th, obvious, well, Den Hire did not really help that one. And then just getting caught up in chaos. It's just not really worked out for him. However, he'll have to just try to pull himself up here. As we'll just see Well, they're both in the same strategy, so anything that happens in this race, unless there's a perfectly timed safety car, I don't really see how Davies is going to be able to get back to McWilliam.
Here comes the man who's leading the race at one point, who overtakes Daniel Holland. That is for 15th spot, which is not the position he would have wanted. And here comes Niels Hartel around the outside of Panguru. Panguru going to defend this one on the hard tyres. He's going to give him the right old shove. Not off the circuit, though. It's a good defensive driving from Panguru, but unfortunately, it's good, but it's not great. Although, is he going to try the Alonso tactic around the outside? No. You're not him, buddy, unfortunately, he has gone off, as there was a yellow flag in that sector, but it was for Habib Makouk. I thought it was for Tyler Pistilli. It was not, it was for Makouk. Now, Borbjorn, here is your time to set yourself in McLaren history, because Lewis McWilliam is coming up behind Borbjorn, and if there was ever a time Luke needed his teammate to put up a defensive masterclass, it is now. It's a circuit that it can be done on. There's been some great defensive performances in the Hungarian Grand Prix in the past, not in FVR, of course, because, well, this is our first one. Bohr needs to do everything possible to keep Luke behind. He's better on an ERS front. It's just Lewis is just phenomenal in race pace. And honestly, Lewis is probably the quickest driver in the field at the minute. Obviously, there's no statistical backing from that one, but just by the naked eye, you can certainly see he's doing a good job. He's had a wobble there, actually, mind you, so Bohr might be able to defend this one. He's gone for a defensive move there to the inside line. Here comes Lewis McWilliam, though. Is it going to be last of the late breakers like he's done before? Here comes the Scotsman up the inside. Borbjorn does not yield, and he's going to try and hang it around the outside here, but has Lewis got that one done as they just come back into camera shot? Borbjorn still here in contention. Has he gone back up the inside? He has! He's spun Lewis McWilliam! It's not the wingman job that everyone would have wanted, but there is certain people in the McLaren camp who will love every second about that. There's definitely a penalty coming for Borbjorn. Level playing field, potentially. Lewis McWilliam is up to 9th. There's a car spun in the background. That's Andrew Davis. Lewis McWilliam comes into contact with Borbjorn. And there's a certain McLaren team boss that goes by that, whose name rhymes with Jan Menandez, who'll be very much loving what Borbjorn has just done there. Game on.
Yeah, 9th and 11th. It's being it's not the position you want to be in for Luke and Lewis, but technically for Luke, this is a much better site than
Lewis will be fuming, and rightly so. It's not racing we encourage, and Bohr will probably get a penalty from the stewards because of it. Oh, it gets worse! It gets worse because Lewis has spun while trying to overtake Yathan Panguru. He's gone round. That one wasn't really risky. That was under his own accord, I feel, but obviously we'll get another look at it. This just gets more dramatic. This is really an unbelievable race. Now Luke is in the points. Lewis is not. How quickly the tables can turn. If anything can happen in Formula 1, it usually does, and if it will happen in Formula 1, it will certainly happen here in FVR. Aaron McFall being attacked for 3rd position by Henry Rogers. Rogers looking for the up and under. Aaron's tyres will be...
just Tim gone.
Oh, Tim didn't hire out. Tim is out. What's happened there, Brendan?
Safety car, surely.
Yeah, that has to be a safety car. That's in a real bad position. That is in a really bad position, and the safety car will come out. Oh, so unfortunate for Den Hire. Qualified so well, but it seems to be qualifying is what he's good at nowadays. Safety car then, on the 10th lap of proceedings here in the Hungarian Grand Prix. This is dramatic, and I believe there will be some angry people after this one. And look,
yeah,
Lewis has a right to be angry with Borbjorn, but I'm not so sure there was that much of an incident with Yathan Panguru. I thought
it didn't look good.
I thought that it was just a mistake by Lewis himself, and we're going to see Tyler Pistilli into the pit lane. Still 25 laps to go here in this race, or 25 laps or so. That's a lot. That's a lot to do on medium tyres.
Yeah, but maybe he's banking on a second safety car. Although McFall, this plays perfectly into his hands. He doesn't have to worry about double stack.
Yeah, Jake Marsh stays out, which is it arguably the better call? I'd say so.
Probably not the worst call. But either way, I'm going to have to say, I'm not sure if this is a mid-off or a chaos off, but Luke Davies and Lewis are definitely 1 and 2 in that regard. They are probably going to end up being pretty much 1 and 2 plus 10 in the order.
Well then, this is dramatic so far here in Formula Virtual Racing, and I woke up this morning, probably too late, and thought, FVR this evening, better post the race day post, and carried on with my day. If you had told me at 46 minutes past 7 I'd be commentating on a Hungarian Grand Prix that has a top 3 of Jake Marsh, Borbune and Adrian Teiche, I would have had something to say to you that included a few silly names. How has this turned out like this then? Pastilli's come out in 4th as well in the pit lane. This has worked out perfectly for Aaron McFall, who can go hard to the end. Is Aaron on a genius strategy? How does a genius strategy fall into Aaron McFall's lap? That's what I want to know.
And how will this end up in an... I say, what form will this result in an Aaron McTrain? Is it A, he just stays out? B, he flies to the front in chaos and then stays out for a safety car? C, he actually has pace? Or D, I don't know, to be honest, but he actually doesn't end up in the front, but we still get an Aaron McTrain anyways.
This is an exciting race. There is a lot to be decided here in Formula Virtual Racing. The running order as of lap 12 is Jake Marsh, Borbune, Adrian Teiche, Tyler Pastilli, Aaron McFall, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Henry Rogers, Niels Hartl, Yafin Penguru, Luke Davies, Maurice Stumer, Lewis McWilliam, Liam Houseman, Daniel Holland, Andrew Davis and Habib McCook. Those out of the race, it's Timden Hire, Liam Carrick and Matthew Stotts. Well, this is... I don't really know what to say at this point. It's been dramatic, it's been chaotic, and it's been probably the most Formula Virtual race of the history of Formula Virtual racing.
Yeah. Being a really chaotic race, you don't really see like 2 championship contenders get drawn in like this, although actually this already did happen at this track in real life F1 at Hungary, albeit in this case the British person was they were more there because they forgot their own tyres, and then the Red Bull, well, obviously this case the Red Bull was actually caught up in chaos.
Lewis has simply said one letter and one word to Borbune. He's gone, Borbune, I understand. I don't know what sort of encryption crap he's going for there, but I don't know. I'll become a mind reader. Jake Marsh is getting ready to do this with safety car restart, and what an opportunity this could be if this strategy works out for Jake Marsh, but I'm not so sure it will. It'll certainly be a very fast Tyler Pastilli coming after these 4 because he's on fresh rubber. Can the mediums go to the end? I'm not so sure. Maybe. Potentially. But there's still a lot to be decided here in Formula Virtual Racing as Jake rounds the final corner, turn number 14, and we go racing once again here in FVR. They gotta wait to that start-finish line to overtake. Pastilli judges it perfectly. Canadian versus Canadian. Pastilli versus Teiche. The AlphaTauri looking up the inside. Is he gonna look up the inside of Bune as well? He's got Teiche boxed off, and it looks like it's Jurgensmeyer battling with Rogers. Jurgensmeyer just on the older tyres. That's Hartl going for it as well as Maurice Stumer has overtaken Lewis McWilliam here heading in towards turn 3, or turn 2 I should say. McWilliam just trying to force it around the outside. This is equal tyres between the two, but I think the skill of Lewis McWilliam is just going to come off here. Is Luke Davies under some pressure? No, that was the 2 in front who were battling. Looks like Aaron McFall has got past Adrian Teiche. Oh, Adrian's almost out the front, chopped off him. That was Henry Rogers. I think these mediums are just much better here at this stage of the race than these older hards, and these older hards could struggle. There goes Penguru and Jurgensmeyer, and Penguru's turned across him.
Davies got the pair of them.
Davies has just snuck through, and so has Lewis McWilliam. Oh, look at this in the background. Liam Houseman getting a couple of spots as well. He's back in this race. Liam saying his hand is really hurting him, so we do have to show some sympathy for Liam Houseman. Here comes Pastilli up the inside. This is second in the Hungarian Grand Prix. A perfect restart lap from Tyler Pastilli, but this is the battle everyone wants to see. Lewis McWilliam and Luke Davies are almost side by side here on the circuit. There is going to be no remorse shown in this battle as we enter the 14th lap of proceedings. Lap 13 was unlucky for some. If you're a viewer of Formula Virtual Racing, it was a very lucky one, because here comes the Scotsman attacking the man who is a singular point ahead of him, although we gotta just jump to the front because Tyler Pistilli now leads here in Hungary. What a strategy this could be for Pistilli. As look at Lewis McWilliam, he's gone for the move up the inside. It's not paid off. I imagine it was a late move from the Red Bull. Luke Davies is in 8th now, as we need really 4 screens to just cover the action. Luke is still in 8th, Lewis in 9th. Lewis hungry for this one. He's got a much better exit. That wasn't a pun. Here comes Lewis McWilliam though, looking for the inside. He's using the grass. This is rash from Lewis McWilliam. Davies is forced to exit the circuit. That was a rash move from Lewis. If he had gone for it, he didn't. He backed out, and that's one of the smarter decisions today here on the racing surface. Lewis McWilliam now, his best chance, probably in towards turn 12, or we could just wait for the first corner, because if he goes for it into any of these, that could pay off stupid. Luke is entitled to hold his line here, but if Lewis is alongside, he does have to leave a car width and an inch for Lewis McWilliam to attempt an overtake. Luke, though, is usually a fairly clean racer, as Aaron McFall up the inside of Henry Rogers. A bit of argy-bargy here between Rogers and McFall. Rogers is going to just block past him, and Aaron is a bit of a half-spin. Aaron, good car control there, though, as the real problem here is Davies has to try and get past Niels Hartl, who's trying to get past Adrian Teiche. There's a real clog up here.
Yeah, it's a clog up, and it's not what you want, because McWilliam will sense opportunity, and he's been braking late. He particularly into turn 12. Over here.
Luke's gone for it. Luke's gone for it up the inside. Doesn't work on Hartl. He'll have to hold off. That could have compromised Luke's exit. But the thing about Lewis McWilliam is he's Morris Stumer right behind him as well. These two are caught in a train that they are not used to here in Formula Virtual Racing. We've seen midfield battles be like this in previous races, but Luke and Lewis have not really been involved with them. Here comes the Scotsman once again, attempting a move in towards turn number 5. Not close enough on this occasion either. Not close enough to even attempt on this occasion. Luke has to... Adrian Teiche has been tapped in front. The Teiche spins round and they're both involved in it. They've both got through. So has Niels Hartl. Adrian just with a half spin. Believe Niels may have tapped him in the rear. There's a busy night in the steward's office coming, that's for sure.
He's had a full spin, down to 15th. Hey. It's not a good nap for that Red Bull, but the other Red Bull got through. And there's a few less
They both got through unscathed, and it's a mistake from Hartl. Luke can put a bit of breathing room between himself and his rival. Davies is up to 6th position here in Hungary, nailed the braking. Hartl is now the man in between, as it looks like Henry Rogers looking to attack Borbune. He's just cutting through these hard tyre runners, just like Tyler Pistilli did as well there a couple of laps ago. Rogers going to take this one in towards turn number 1. He's just going to breeze past the McLaren here. Borbune, unfortunately, not able to defend, although Bor... I think he's did enough defending for one day. Here comes Lewis McWilliam, though, trying the move on Niels Hartl. Gets up the inside, nails his apex. That's a good move from Lewis McWilliam. Credit where credit's due. That's an excellent overtake, and he's nailed that one. Hartl looking to attack back. Niels Hartl, big dive up the inside. Lewis will feel he's a bit of a magnet for moves here in this corner, but Hartl wasn't close enough, and just had to back out. His fight is probably with the man who he shared his debut podium with, Morris Stumer. That's probably the fight there, as Luke and Lewis will just look to carry on. But there's nobody else jeopardising Davies and McWilliam now. They are in a clean dogfight to the end of this race. They're both on equal tyres, both don't have any penalties, and both running on the same racing surface with no cars in front of them. This could be a good one to the end. Yathan Panguru, he did get past Daniel Holland, but he's had to let him back through for whatever reason, so he's let Holland back through. It looks like Henry Rogers is just looking to attack Jake Marsh. If there's no safety cars from now till the end, though, will these mediums make it? I don't really know, but that's just due to the fact that I don't know, not that I'm unsure if they'll make it or not, because it's a lot of laps to do on a set of mediums. I know the tyres certainly don't wear as much on this game as they did in previous, but it's something to consider. We're not going to consider it now, though, because the battle of the season might just be coming up, as was that a spinner in the last corner. No, I thought Niels Hartl spun round. Is Lewis going to go for it in towards turn number 1? These guys both don't have any ERS on board. It's as level as it can get here in Formula Virtual Racing, as Henry Rogers trying to attack Marsh here. He's going to try the up and under. Marsh has had to compromise his run, heading through turn number 4. Yellow flag in the first sector. That's for Liam Houseman. You got to feel for Liam Houseman. Unfortunately, had a great qualifying, but I think that hand just isn't holding up. He's in quite a bit of pain with that. So I do hope Liam is doing okay there in the background. He's still soldiering on. Like the trooper that he is. Rogers wasn't able to get past in the first sector. Lewis is round! Lewis McWilliam has made him. another mistake, and Lewis McWilliam falls to 9th here. He wasn't close enough to Luke. Luke hasn't caused that. Lewis McWilliam is down to 9th here in the FVR Hungarian Grand Prix. This has not been a good race for Lewis McWilliam. It started off so brilliantly, it's not been a good one up, and now he has to try catch back up to Luke Davies.
Wait, but he's got one more trump card here. Look who's in 5th.
Oh yeah, it is Aaron McFall. As here comes Henry Rogers. He's got Marsh done, and that is him through. And up to 2nd, Pastilli leads this one by 3 seconds here, and Henry Rogers will be looking to hunt him down. Jake Marsh is in 3rd now, but Jake's still running a solid 3rd, you got to say. And Borbune running in 4th. Aaron McFall is in 5th, and this could be the worst battle Luke Davies may have to have here in this race. 2 people he would want to avoid it in this Hungarian Grand Prix. Lewis McWilliam and Aaron McFall. And he's going to have to face both of them. Lewis said in the pre-race interview to the Formula Virtual Racing media team, of course you can check it out on the Instagram page, that he was focused solely on Luke Davies. Has he maybe been focused that little bit too much on Luke Davies, because he's made a couple of mistakes? Obviously, the Borbune incident, that's 100% on Borbune. That's already been predetermined, pretty much. The Yafin Penguru one, I'd say, is fairly 50-50, and that spin there was 100% on Lewis McWilliam, because there wasn't another car near him, or so I think. I'm not sure if you caught it, Brendan, but the gap was 5/10 to Luke Davies. Meaning, unless Luke just suddenly stamped on the brakes, which is something he wouldn't do, that was caused by Lewis McWilliam. But I just got to say, this could be the most shuffled up race that we've seen this season. Our 2 championship contenders are 6th and 9th.
Yeah, that's... I can't believe they haven't said this yet, but I'm sure they'll be hungry to make up a couple of more positions.
Brilliant. Perfect. Well executed. Perfect time in the race. I'm in a good mood. Bish, bash, bosh. Well done, Brendan. Excellent job there. Round of applause for Brendan in the stream chat, please. As Morris Stumer looking to attack Nils Hartl. We're over the halfway point in this race, and it's been a good one. It's been a brilliant race, hasn't it? I've been enjoying it anyways.
Yeah, it's been a very, very fun race. After we have to see, we have 3 different strategies going on. One with the mediums, can they hang on, or do you need to make another stop? Jake Marsh and the Hearts, he'll have to make another stop, but that doesn't mean he'll be very quick at the end. And then Aaron McFall, he's already made the necessary stop, but he's also able to go to the end. What do you do? And how will this play out? Because McFall could end up leading this race at some point. Although it seems like we're not getting McFall train, we're getting the Borbune train. We're
getting the Borbune train, and Boar's been involved in a lot this evening. Boar is usually one of those fairly steady drivers that you can kind of count on in any sort of opportunity, but he's been involved in quite a lot. Andrew Davis picking up a 3-second time penalty, and Aaron is now getting a taste of his own medicine, isn't he? He's trying to overtake Borbune. He's on better tyres than Borbune, but Luke is arguably on better tyres than him, because he's on the same lap old medium compound of tyres. But what a fight this one could be. This is the battle for 4th. It is 2 McLarens and a Ferrari. Now, the thing about Aaron is, obviously Aaron is a very good defensive driver, as that's Daniel Holland, who's off in the background. Aaron is a very good defensive driver, but he's not against 1 McLaren, he's against 2. They'll obviously be communicating and can work together quite well here, meaning Boar will just back up Aaron and maybe allow Luke to just slip through. Boar has did enough for Luke today, I feel. As legal or illegal you may judge that, I feel he's done enough for Luke this evening. Lewis certainly won't be giving Boar a Christmas card at the end of the year, I think that's for sure, as I can't imagine he's going to give Luke or Juan, the McLaren team boss, one either. But we will wait and see. Yellow flag in the middle sector. That's Jake Marsh, who's gone round at the same point he went round in qualifying. That's Jake Marsh, who's on the 19-lap Old Hard, who spun to 9th position. That promotes Borbune onto the podium. Aaron McFall to 4th, Luke to 5th, Nils Hartl to 6th, Morris Strumer to 7th, and Lewis McWilliam to 8th. But Jake will come into the pit lane, and unfortunate there for him. Still, though, in this battle for 3rd, it's just getting a little bit closer, and it's certainly now 1 Ferrari versus 2 McLarens, because the absence of Jake Marsh on the Formula Virtual Racing podium has gone. But he'll be on fresh mediums to the end of the Grand Prix, so he can still maybe get a couple of points out of this one.
Yeah, he should still to try something here. Maybe that if an undercut might get him back some of the time he lost. But either way, it's probably just not the best of it laps for him, and that's probably going to cost him the real opportunity he had.
Heading through them. Jake had front wing damage, says Khalil in the stream chat. So Jake had he had left end plate damage. That might have been a cause of that spin potentially. Lewis now, his next target is to get past Morris Strumer. There's another yellow flag in the first sector, but that is for the lapsed traffic of Habib Makouk. Lewis has been extending the exit of turn 11 on quite a few occasions. I know sometimes you don't pick up a warning for it, but it's not something that was in the race briefing, but it's something to be considered if we come to the Hungary ring again, as his next target is Morris Strumer, who has Nils Hartl right in front of him, so he's got to be careful not to hit the Haas while overtaking the Alfa Romeo, but he's going to have a go up the inside. Oh, that's a late move from Strumer as the free wide here at the braking zone. Lewis is going to try and go for the both of them. Strumer's hit Hartl around. McWilliam slides through, and it's Nils Hartl who was in 6th. He's now fallen to 8th. Strumer just misjudged that, and there could be 2 separate penalty incidents from Morris Strumer there. There was a late defensive move, and he hit round the Haas.
Yeah, McWilliam will be thankful for that because
very hard. That's the one bit of luck that he's probably had this evening.
Yeah, other than maybe the start of the race, somewhat he was ahead of Davies, but obviously that all got flipped around for a multitude of reasons. And now maybe he could start to focus in. See, there's space ahead, but once he starts jumping into that space, when there's a bit less, it will probably mean Luke Davies is closer. And you see us 2.5, 2.4.
Gap's coming down really quickly.
2.3, 2.2. Luke, is there a problem here? Oh, wait, this is your problem. You've got to make a move.
And what's even worse is the fact it's his teammate who's holding him up, but there's a car in between him and his teammate, so he can't let him through. That's a yellow flag in the background. That is Habib Makouk again, unfortunately. Luke looked for it up in towards turn number 1. Aaron, though, still has a chance of a podium because, of course, Borbune has to make a mandatory pit stop. Here comes Luke. Is he going to look for it up the inside? No, doesn't risk it, doesn't fancy it. But the gap is closing down quickly between himself and Lewis McWilliam. Is Aaron starting to back Luke up? I don't think so. I definitely don't think he is. Aaron is still running a consistent pace as Jake Marsh instantly back on his La Remontada, if you want to say. He's set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Lap 23 out of 35 is Luke Davies. New FVR driver, by the way, folks. Luke Davies is who I mean, as he's trying to get past the Ferrari. Comment from Kyle Albert saying, Tyler doing a good job, quietly going about his business in an efficient manner. Very nice from him. Yeah, it's been an impressive performance from Tyler Bastilli. Even since Henry Rogers managed to dispatch this battle, he's not caught him, and Bastilli has found 1.7 seconds as there's a Mercedes round for the final corner. That's Daniel Holland, unfortunately. It wasn't Jonathan Jurgens-Meyer.
Oh, McWilliam's pitting. He's pitting.
Lewis McWilliam dives into the pit lane and obviously feels these mediums are not going to make the end of proceedings here in Formula Virtual Racing. This race has so many twists and turns, you'd confuse it for the Nordschleife. Lewis McWilliam is going to fall out of the points here as he has to make a pit stop. He'll end up behind Yathan Panguru, who is in an extremely close fight with Andrew Davis and Jonathan Jurgens-Meyer. But that means then, will Pastilli, Rogers and Davies have to make another pit stop, and of course Borbune as well, but will they all have to make another pit stop here, or will they make it to the end of this race?
Yeah, this is very interesting. William, he's going to have to, first of all, catch up to 4.2 Jatin, then have to pass Davis, then Jurgens-Meyer. That's another few seconds there to Pineapple. Another few seconds to Matza, and then you're back to Luke. However...
safety car!
Oh,
Daniel Holland has crashed out of the race, and the safety car has come out. Holland has spun it, heading through turn number 11. Lewis is not having the rub of the green this evening, is he?
No.
What a strategy from Borbune, though. Oh, he's been hit! Aaron's touched it, but no, all okay. Could have been a lot worse than it was. We all know Aaron's going to try and overtake him in the pits here, isn't he? I wasn't born yesterday. Yeah, knew he was going to try, but you're not allowed to try it, so it's a good thing he didn't. Brenda.
Luke, he's going to have to do a double stack here, so that might even out some of this.
Lewis is heading through turn number 13.
Oh.
He could still come out in front here. He has to obey Delta pace, but he could still be okay. He's heading through the final corner, turn 14, as Yathan Panguru is just ploughed into the back of Andrew Davis.
Oh, this might be close.
Here's Davies on pit exit. Where is McWilliam? Where is McWilliam? Here he is. Is he able to get in front? No, he's behind. He's behind. But look, they come together on track once again. Jake in 8th or 9th now. Niels Hartl just getting in front. Who's gone for the softs, so that'll be another quick driver. Habib McCook has left the session. We lost McCook as well, meaning your non-finishers so far in this one are Holland, McCook, Den Heyer, Carrick and Stotts. But it's a level playing field apart from Niels Hartl and Jake Marsh, because everybody else is on practically the same tyres. Oh, this could be the FVR sprints of all FVR sprints.
Yeah, it's so interesting. All of this, and now they're right there, 5th and 6th. And well, they pretty much got their wing now, right in front of them. Borbune and McFall. However, the problem for Luke is he doesn't have someone he can slip on in between himself, because McFall is the one he has to pass first. Ultimately, if he gets McFall out of the way early, it's good, because then they'll have to play the switch, and then the switch off Borbune. And in weird Dumbledore way, this is almost like a chess match where both them are on the back foot, and in order to use their pieces, one of them's got to make a move.
Houseman has unfortunately left the session. Hopefully he can get back in. Khalil saying lightning lucky 5 in the comments. I wouldn't say so, because I mean that safety car has worked out better for Lewis than it has for him. Because Lewis obviously doesn't have to get past Jurkensmar and Davis or Panguru. He was just able to get past.
Yeah, that is a benefit. However, it has left us very, very even, although it's a ton. Pastilli's probably a little annoyed, because that was a very nice lead.
He is probably annoyed, but if Pastilli just does exactly what he did, he can win this one still. If Tyler Pastilli was to win this race, he'd become the 28th different winner of a Formula Virtual Racing Grand Prix. He would become the first Canadian ever to do so, and he would become the first AlphaTauri winner in quite a long time. He would become the first AlphaTauri winner since Jack Redmond won the Season 6 Singaporean Grand Prix. AlphaTauri, the 6th most successful team in terms of race victories. He'd put them one higher to 9, which would be just 2 shy of Mercedes. If somehow Borbune or Luke Davies was to win this race, says, what's happened to Niels Hartl? Niels, I swear, loses a position on every safety car. Every single one, I swear. Bit of a kerfuffle here. Hopefully they can all sort themselves out. But if McLaren somehow were to win this race, they would go ahead of Red Bull and take 16. Those 5 seconds, if they're reported, by the way, will be removed, because that was that's unfair, I feel. But McLaren and Red Bull tied on 15. They'd go one ahead and take 16. But here we go then. Tyler Pastilli, one of the most anticipated safety car restarts here in Season 9. We go racing here in Budapest once again. Borbune gets an okay launch. There's nothing really major. They're all kind of still line astern. Luke Davies having to put that extra bit of temperature into his tyres. Lewis McWilliam under pressure from Morris Stumer, who looked to dive it up the inside, but Stumer backs out of it. And looks like Niels Hartl not able to capitalise on the better tyre so far here on this restart. Luke Davies looking to still hunt down Aaron McFall. If things were to stay like this, Luke would extend his championship lead to 3 points heading into next week, although it's a much harder playing field next week against Lewis McWilliam. Of course, we do head to Spa-Francorchamps, which is a track Lewis has had some drama at before, but it's a track he's quite good at as well. Luke never really ran the best around Spa. as Lewis now right on the tail of Luke Davies. This could get very complicated between these two if Lewis McWilliam and Luke Davies were to make contact. Rounding through turn number 10 and in towards the right-hander of turn number 11. Luke looking a little bit vulnerable through this section of the track. Is Lewis going to try something audacious? He's going to try it around the outside of the corner where he spun while battling Yathin Penguru. Luke leaving no room, doesn't have to. Lewis comes back onto the circuit. Did he take that spot off the circuit? Well, whether that matters or not, Lewis McWilliam is up into 5th position and has overtaken Luke Davies. Luke will have the run here with the slipstream. He won't have a tread from Morris Stumer behind because Stumer almost lost it, but no, there's no chance here for Luke. Lewis McWilliam is up and through. He took it off the circuit, or he went off the circuit and then took it through turn 12. Lewis up to 5th.
I'm sure Luke Davies will have that written down, because if he doesn't, I'm certain that his team principal may well have.
But it's Aaron McFall next up for Lewis McWilliam. I'm sure Aaron won't make it too difficult, or maybe he will. It is Aaron. You kind of can't really tell what he's going to do at the best of times, but he's making it difficult for Borbune. He's going to try fish around the outside here on the McLaren. Borbune in a great podium spot. The battle for the lead is now just under 1 second, so Henry Rogers will get DRS if it stays like this is, but I have to say, if anyone deserves to win this race, it's Tyler Pistilli. He's been phenomenal here in this Grand Prix. He has been inch perfect. Aaron McFall 0.5 of a second shy on Borbune now. Is this a battle for 11th? Oh no, there's not a battle for 11th. It's just a mistake from Andrew Davis. Juan has piped up and he said illegal move in my books. Juan has he's piped up, so there might be an investigation after this one. I feel we'll have a lot of investigations after this one, Brendan, but don't worry, I'm not doing them till tomorrow morning, as Aaron McFall is just piling on the pressure on Borbune once again. We're in the dying stages of this race and the DRS has been enabled. Crucial for Davies to stay in the DRS, of course. There is only one DRS zone here, or apologies, there's 2 DRS zones, but only 1 activation point. He was within the activation point, and he will get it there. So has Luke got the rear wing open? No, he doesn't. There mightn't be any DRS on this lap as a whole, then it'll come on the next one. As that gap under a second between Henry Rogers and Pistilli, but Rogers just pushing that much more than Pistilli. Pistilli driving a cool, calm and collected race car, and as you can see, right on cue, Rogers pushing that much more. He's made a mistake and picks up a 3-second penalty.
Out here. Davies is falling out here.
He is. Davies is in trouble. And Luke just doesn't have the pace to keep up with these three, one being his teammate, so he's being outdriven by Borbune.
You need to nearly use a bit ERS here, just gives
he's
it
got
the
to compensate.
injection.
He's less
Yeah,
than
he is.
Yeah, he's using a bit. He's got less than Lewis, but he has to get within that DRS detection point, which is just before turn number 14. 10th of a second shy, 2/10 of a second shy. Is he able to get it? I don't think so, unless he gets a blistering exit. Oh, this is close. This is real close. No, he's not got it, I don't, or unless it's moved to around the final corner. Oh, it might have actually moved to around the final corner. Has he got it open? He hasn't. No. Luke's not made it. Luke is out of DRS, but he's within it now, quite crucially. If Bohr was to back these all up, he'd get back within a second. Yeah, that's a yellow flag through turn number 13. That's Adrian who's gone off.
Yeah, 5 laps or so to go. Davies is now back in it here, but he's struggling in this first part of the lap.
Also, just up the front, is this going to be deja vu for Tyler Pistilli? The last time he was leading an FVR race, there was a Ferrari-powered car behind who had a 3-second time penalty that took the win from him after they made contact in towards turn number 1. That was Premiera around the Algarve International Circuit in Portimao. This is a quite different circuit, but Rogers running well. The battle for a third still thunders on, and Aaron not making any inroads on the very speedy Borbune. Bohr's driven a great race today. The strategy's worked out in his favour alright, but he's still driven a great race. Oh, Aaron lets Lewis McWilliam through. Oh, I hate when that happens. Can I just make that clear? Aaron drives for a different team. I don't care who your friend is. You don't let him through. But now Aaron is just simply going to back Luke Davies up.
And that might be an important thing, because if McWilliam wants to avoid a penalty, he'll probably want McFall to be backing up as much as possible. But like you see, Davies has a slight wobble there, and that's not going to help.
Stumer and Hartle. Stumer getting past the softs, dying very quickly for Nils Hartle. The conundrum here is, Luke's wingman is in front of Lewis, and Lewis's wingman is in front of Luke. They're both going to be defending equally as hard. Who defends harder? As it looks like Hartle. Oh, he's just got past Jumer into the left-hander. Good move from Nils Hartle there. These two have, they've always been close together in Formula Virtual Racing since their debuts, respectively, in Silverstone. It's been good for the two. Oh, Marsh round into the wall. That's Jake Marsh, who will fall ahead of the points here in Hungary.
Yeah. And, no damage, so... But it's probably a fairly bruised ego today. And what McFall's fallen out of Williams DRS. Honestly, I'm surprised. Not really. Oh, maybe he's just about to get it.
Oh no, I think he is just about out, but we'll wait and see. Lewis is definitely going to launch a move on Borbune. He's got a real out of shape though through the final corner. Still has enough straight line speed. The last time he tried this, it all didn't go well for him. Goes down the inside of the McLaren. Bune forced to an outside line. Lewis just runs that little bit wide. Bune going to get the better exit here, but Lewis, of course, quite crucially has the DRS and he's up and onto the podium here in the Hungary ring. He now has to try and catch 0.7 of a second to get Henry Rogers on a penalty count. Luke not close enough to get past Aaron McFall for now. This is crucial that Luke minimises the damage done here. Borbune is being well overtaken and unfortunately may finish off the podium here.
Yeah, it's not really going to work out here for Borbune unless McWilliam makes a mistake, which he has made today, but it seems like at this point, maybe not so much. But for Davies, get within the 5 seconds if you feel like that overtake was wrong. That's a Haas round of Nils Hartle and
Luke, mistake from Luke. He's ran wide, heading through 11. If he falls out of DRS or Aaron McFall, this could be not just this race done, it could be the championship.
Yeah, and doesn't seem like he's getting near Aaron McFall either. Problem is, McFall's like, you're on equal tires. There isn't anything you could fall back on. Maybe think, alright, they might drop off, or I've got the better tire.
Warnings would be probably it, but even that's a stretch. As Lewis is going to get Henry Rogers here.
Yeah, and we need to look at the gaps here. I think Luke would be a danger of falling outside of 5 seconds, which would be probably...
What is Lewis being investigated for?
No, what I mean is, didn't you say he overtook off the race?
Oh, Aaron Round! McFall's made the mistake! He's made the mistake heading through tire number 4. And that's the last thing he would have wanted. Luke now 5th, and Borbune's going to let him through for 4th. That goes without question.
Yeah, that'll probably sort itself out. I'd say the team order will have to be going through, although I'm not sure. Actually, would these two be in the same party?
Who? Boren Lewis?
Luke.
Sorry, Boren Luke, yeah, they will be.
Yeah, I hope so. So for their own sake, probably, because they want to be making that switch.
They will have to make that switch. Because, well, if Luke does only finish 1 position behind Lewis, that's not the end of the world. That's only a 2-point swing. But it still will bring a new leader in the championship. And you gotta say, Lewis has performed a lot better than Luke has in the previous few races. We're on the penultimate lap of proceedings here at the Hungary ring. And I just gotta say, what a performance this has been from Tyler Pistilli. He is gonna take a deserved win here in Budapest.
Yeah, we haven't really given the full praise he deserves, mainly because of Championship 5. But Tyler Pistilli has pretty much shown Ireland what a proper race win is. And that is something that we saw Luke do twice at the start of the season. And Lewis, he had his own couple of wins. And now it's just a case of Tyler Pistilli maybe... You don't know. This might be just a hint of what he can't really do when he's fully on his game. It's not actually Andrew Davis having a spin, so one that be very good, and one that be very not so good.
But I have to say, I think if Luke wants to win this championship, he's got to win another race.
And he'll probably need a McWilliam mistake that sticks to his to as an impact and where he
Yeah, like
finishes.
what he needs to win another race, and then in the same race or a different race, needs Lewis to make a mistake, because Lewis has made so many mistakes today and been involved in so much. And I know the safety car did help Lewis, but Luke hasn't capitalised on it once again. And is that something that he just does a little bit too much? He's a phenomenal driver, and this is by far his best season so far. But has Luke not capitalised in the same way Lewis can? Is what I'm thinking. But we're on the final lap of proceedings here, and Tyler Pistilli is coming around the final few corners to seal his first Formula Virtual Racing win, and nothing is going to take this one off him unless he makes a mistake. He's crossed the checker in first on multiple occasions. He's been phenomenal in qualifying and the races, and he came in, he burst onto the scene last season, in the middle of the season, and helped Red Bull wrap up his Constructors' title, but he was second best to Lewis McWilliam on so many occasions. But for the first ever time, a Canadian will stand tall here in Formula Virtual Racing, and Tyler Pistilli is his name as he wins here in the Hungary. What an excellent race from Pistilli. McWilliam will take second, his old teammate will come home behind. It'll be Henry Rogers with a debut podium in third, Bourbion fourth. Did not let Luke Davies through. So Luke has lost out on much more points on Lewis than he potentially could have. Yathan Panguru in 7th, Jurgens Meyer in 8th, Nils Hartl will come home in 9th, and Andrew Davis in 10th. That was dramatic here in Formula Virtual Racing. It doesn't really get more action-packed than that.
Yeah, and you see some of the penalties slipping through, and that's actually Adrian up to 9th now thanks to them penalties.
Yeah, Adrian picking up some points. Well done, Adrian.
I think McFall might have not spun, because he might have actually picked up some points there in that race if he just kept going. At this point, he's not going to, so.
But Tyler Pistilli, with one of the best drives of the season, I'd say. He controlled that one once he got in front.
Yeah, very much so. He just did not put a foot wrong. Let's say. It's often you see one of them kind of races where he's not really got much to lose, but then he's able to performance, take the race away, and it's a confidence booster. Maybe in the next game, and that does come out, you might just see him maybe drop the challenge, although that might depend on how the game is to him. But before the...
Oh, Aaron, just end the race. Aaron, please, I have things to do. Just end the race.
Evan, the Eurovision man.
I'm a Eurovision fan. My food arrived on lap 33. Just end the race.
I'm not sure what he's celebrating here.
Yeah, he's... I don't know what he's celebrating. But Lewis simply said, this was a funny race. And I think that's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah. I think Silverstone was still, like, it was a funny race by definition. But this was, yeah, it was funny in his own right. Just how, like, both Lewis and Luke were very much stuck at their mid-pack for most of it. And if Aaron McFall could just kindly cross the line.
Aaron, honestly, it's not even funny at this point. You genuinely do this every race you do. Just cross the finish line.
Is this penalty worthy?
Oh, honestly, I'm so tempted to never give this man a seat again.
Will you just, please? How have you?
It's only 3 seconds. It's fine. Oh, yeah. Oh. Well, Tyler Pistilli wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. And look, it was dramatic, but the best driver today was Tyler Pistilli by a long shot. And I'm really happy for him to take the win because he deserves it. He really does deserve it.
Yeah, I think he's driver of the day. Everything, probably every award you could give for that race, it would be going to him.
Well, driver of the day wasn't Luke or Lewis, and I can tell you that for free.
Yeah. Uh, not the. Yeah, it wasn't really the night best race for April. But
Driver of the day, Borbune, for creating that chaos. There will be a penalty coming. Oh, hold on a second. That's why Bor didn't let Lewis through. He's 100% guaranteed a penalty anyways. Well, ladies and gentlemen, your full race results here in Formula Virtual Racing. Tyler Pastilli wins for Canada. It's Lewis McWilliam in second, followed by Henry Rogers in third. Actually, I say Lewis isn't driver of the day. He did come from 19th to finish second.
yeah, but Tyler Pastilli. No, I'm sorry, but that's driving their performance.
Henry
Lewis
Rogers
did
finishes in third, followed by Borbune in fourth, Luke Davies in fifth. It is Morris Stumer who finishes in sixth position. It is Yathan Paguru in seventh, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in eighth, Adrian Taisha in ninth, Andrew Davis in 10th. And your non-point scorers was Nils Hartl, Jake Marsh, Liam Houseman and Aaron McFall. And your non-finishers was Daniel Holland, Habib McCook, Tim Denhire and Liam Carrick and Matthew Stutz. Ladies and gentlemen, no interviews today. Unfortunately, they will be back next week, but tune into our Instagram where we will be posting plenty of post-race interviews. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time.